Kelley Beaucar is executive editor of the American Conservative magazine. Worked here at Fox for an awful long time. She joins us tonight. Kelley, thanks so much for coming on. So, just since this is unfolding right before us, is it possible that Iran lobs these missiles into the base, which is, I think, infuriating to every American watching, no matter what your views on foreign policy are, and that's the end of it? Or does this inevitably lead to where it looks like it's leading, which is to a wider conflict?
Well, I mean, if you just look at the last several days, it looks like a tit for tat has been occurring. So you see the attacks on the 27th by Hezbollah Kataib on the Iraqi base in which our soldiers were housed. The contractor perished. We responded by attacking 5 different targets in Syria and Iraq. Then the response was the protests and the embassy. And our response to the protests at the embassy were killing their second most popular leader in Iran. So I'm looking at these strikes tonight, and what I'm thinking is that how are we going to retaliate, and how big is it going to be? Because I'm sure it's going to be much bigger than these ballistic
we can certainly see how it could go there. I mean, people who don't live in Washington may see this as a clean debate between conservative Republicans and liberal Democrats, but those of us who live here know that, I don't know, pick someone, Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer. I mean, these are people who've been basically advocating for a kind of war against Iran for an awfully long time. So the establishment in Washington is for this, and I just think our viewers out there should know that. Would you agree?
Well, I would agree, because I heard Chuck Schumer today, and what he was talking about is, I have 2 questions, and my question is, what is our response going to be, and how are we prepared for Iranian retaliation? My questions would be, what were the authority for these attacks in the first place? And I'm not just talking about the attack on Soleimani. I'm talking about the attacks on the 29th, in which we bombed 2 sovereign states, Syria and Iraq, without any explanation or justification. But it seems like they've moved on from that, and they just want to know what our retaliation, what our preparations are for an Iranian retaliation.
Right,
like
so
they're already at war.
It's infuriating, because the posturing of people like Chuck Schumer couldn't be more false. I mean, it's because of Schumer and Pelosi and people like them that we got into Iraq in the first place.
Correct.
That we murdered Gaddafi and turned Libya into an even worse country, and that this is happening.
Right, and they've been no real backstop on this run up to war in Iran for all these years, including getting out of the Iran nuclear deal in 2018. I mean, they opposed it because they opposed Trump. But really, what they were saying to us, sotto voce, was that they were preparing for war anyway with Iran because they were bad guys. It's just that we can't seem to delineate where their hate for Trump starts and their real interest in keeping us out of endless war starts or begins.
Well, they're completely in favor of endless war. I mean, they're left-wing internationalists, so of course, by definition, their power derives from conflict. It always has. It seems like we may have missed the opportunity to do something really good for America, which would be to bring our troops back home from Iraq. Have we missed it?
Right. I mean, if you look at it today, we have more troops in the region and possibly more dead Americans than we had even last week. And so we have 5,000 troops still in Iraq today, add 3,000 that are being deployed out there. So we are creating a situation where the endless war, clawing back the endless wars that Trump had promised, seems to be dissipating before our very eyes, moment by moment.
How can we, I guess this is a rhetorical question, maybe I'm the only one who cares, but the whole point, we were told, of deposing Saddam and spending more than $1 trillion building this democracy was to prove that democracy works, that the Iraqis can carry it out, and that we respect it. Like, we're for democracy. That's why we did this, right? And now a democratic country is saying, actually, we're sovereign, you leave, and we're like, no, we're not going to leave.
Right.
What does that tell us?
I think you got your answer from President Trump today when he said, until they pay us back for our bases and for all of the investment we made in that country, we're not leaving. Now, to me, that doesn't sound like democracy. I mean, if that is the end result of all the blood and all the treasure of our investment or our occupation, whatever you want to call it, democratization of Iraq is, I think that's pretty pitiful.
So what we're going to do, just to punish you, is continue to send welfare payments to people who hate us.
Yeah.
That's our version of punishment. Okay. Kelley, thank you.
Thank you.
You've enraged me, but it's good to see you.